There is no sure path to destroy a person's soul than to deceive that person into living in a constant state of fear. Welcome to another SK Wealth Academy podcast. Now, I know I said I was going to release my 2 podcasts about Bitcoin, but I wanted to really just stop by before I upload those 2 podcasts with this brief interlude, because today I just had my flight canceled to a quick mountain retreat to go visit a friend of mine because of the ongoing lockdowns again that are happening in response to a second wave of infection spreading across the Asian continent. Now, here in Tokyo, there was just a emergency state declared 2 weeks ago. Even in countries that in Asia that are not necessarily undergoing these strict lockdowns. Of course, we all know what's going on in India. They're locking down everything, and in a process are guaranteed to kill thousands of people by starvation through these lockdown policies in India, because the lockdown policies always hurt the poorest of the poor. In Myanmar, the military junta has murdered is a more apropos word, an estimated 750 people since just this past February, but nobody in the mass media gives a damn, because the mass media is so effing immoral that they don't cover such stories within anything greater than a 15-second time span on their nightly news. So what's going on here is really concerning, and I wanted to stop by because I know I told a lot of my patrons that, hey, I doubt a second wave is coming to the Western hemisphere of this world that's going on in the Eastern hemisphere. But I was thinking about this as a recorded a Bitcoin podcast to warn cryptocurrency holders of what is coming to the West based upon what is happening in response to cryptocurrencies in the East. So, because the East is often a testing ground, developing nations are often a testing ground for policies that are then subsequently carried out in the West. Okay, so that will be a podcast available to all my patrons, so just stay tuned. But in response to what I'm observing here in the East, number one, don't at me if you have no scientific background, because you're just going to be displaying exactly the narrative that I opened up this podcast with, which is the quickest, surest way to destroy a person's soul is to get that person to live in a constant state of fear. So, first of all, when it comes to viruses, there is a natural process called antigenic drift. So all viruses mutate. That's why there's no vaccine for HIV virus and other viruses that have proliferated throughout the world in past decades, because they all experience, even a lot of people are so ignorant that profess to know so much about this current virus and what's going on that they don't even know that viruses mutate. That's why, that the common flu virus mutates every single year. That's why the vaccine against the virus is not that highly effective, because of the constant antigenic drift that happens. But yet, people don't understand, if this is a natural scientific process, the mutations aren't going to mutate like what we're being told here in the East, to go from this relatively harmless virus to an extremely dangerous iteration of this mutation. That will take decades of time for a virus to jump that kind of mutation. Either that, or it's another bioengineered virus that escaped from some BLS-4 lab, maybe in Lombardy, Italy, or something like that that is going on right now, that somehow came to Asia. Because that type of massive difference in the severity of this virus that's being propagated all over the Asian continent, it's impossible for that to happen through science. It would be like the first virus in history that made such a grand leap in the mutation process, from mutating in less than a year from this barely worse than the common flu kind of virus, to an extremely dangerous, lethal variation that's being propagated. So this is just non-scientific garbage that's being propagated. And the only thing that I'm really, really am kind of concerned about is that, for example, and speaking to friends here, they say in response to the lockdowns, they say, "Oh yeah, everyone's freaking out about it." But the kind of company I keep, they understand what's up. So they are saying everyone else is freaking out. They're not freaking out, but yet for the first time, I see, which is completely disheartening to me, some of my friends really almost throwing up their hands in defeat of what's going on. Whereas before they wouldn't let this drag them down. They're just saying, "I'm so sick of this world. I'm so sick of what's going on." And I really see that, after a constant year, that is really getting to them. And that is ultimately so concerning to me, because I never want to see this snuff out the light, this constant fear that the majority, because even if you remain immune to this fear, when you're in an environment where everyone else around you is reacting with fear, it can snuff out your positivity, snuff out the light within your soul. So I see some of that happening to some of my friends, some of my close friends, and that's really, really concerning to me. Because, so I can't go away, to this mountain retreat that I had planned for a few days to get away, decompress from everything anymore. But that's not going to kill my positivity. But the fact that I see it killing the positive light in some of my friends now is just, I don't even know what to say. So that's all I wanted to come back and just say at the current moment. Stay tuned. You will get your Bitcoin podcast.